Hi, everybody. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is day 2070, and we are, geez, April 2nd. We missed April Fool's Day. Good, good. I don't like April Fool's Day. Um, so April 2nd, 2026, because we are at 12:52 a.m. And yeah, I know it gets late, but and some nights gets it gets really late, and you know, it has to be done. It has to be done because this is so important. This is so important because what they did to our son is an act of war. It's an absolute act of war. Okay, so he was 2,070 days ago forcibly removed from his barracks room. Richard Halliday, the whistleblower, the Fort Bliss whistleblower soldier. Richard Halliday was forcibly removed from his barracks room. That's right, a code red, a code red. This was internal, very organized, and billionaires involved. And they took him downstairs to the basement room and they took his life. And we are hearing that they took his organs, okay? So he was dismembered and he was trafficked off of Fort Bliss to Juarez, Mexico. And the evidence indicates that what was left of him was disposed of at Plenitude Crematorium. So, yeah, we missed April Fool's Day. So, okay, just sorry about that. I wanted to hear what um, what was going on. So, and I want to see all the comments, and I know it's late, but if you have a comment, absolutely, I'll do my best to answer those questions because this is epic, right? And our lawsuits are going to be epic. And that's why we're coming on kind of late because we've been working very, very hard to get everything squared away for those lawsuits. And we just added another one, believe it or not. We just added another uh, that needs a lawsuit, right? So it's going to be really, really epic. And that has to be too, because look at what we have found, and what we have investigated, what we have uncovered, and what President Trump has uncovered. We have, the whole Plenitude Crematorium where you have 400 bodies. Um, that uh, that has come out now, just recently, that thousands of requests, right, for identification of these remains, over 400 bodies. That means that there are many more, y'all, that the 400 is just the tip of the iceberg. That's what that means. And um, if you're just now coming on, um, Plenitude Crematorium is, gosh, it's so criminal, is in Juarez, Mexico. And in 2025, they discovered over 400 corpses there, stacked on top of each other like cordwood, but in rat infested, filthy conditions. And the person that was arrested right away, there was two people arrested right away, but the one worker, he later died in custody, and the other, the Purchase Arellano Caron family member, um, a narco judge, said there was no crime here and let him go. And of course, he went right over to the United States, to El Paso, to get into his Audi, right? So he's connected. He's connected to the Mormon faction, elite, philanthropist, narco philanthropist, um, criminal organization, terror organization there in El Paso. Absolutely, the protection racket for the trafficking, and of course, the main hub of trafficking was Zorro Ranch until JE got arrested, and then it shifted, and all evidence indicates it shifted to Fort Bliss. Fort Bliss, that they used Fort Bliss because, yeah, they didn't want to go too far from home, right? And Zorro Ranch is on the sits on the north call up of White Sands Missile Range, restricted airspace, and that restricted airspace they wanted to uh, keep on um, uh, exploiting, right? So that's what our evidence has really led us to believe, and now not only were they trafficking, women and children, and um, uh, fuel theft, and all kinds of weapons and ammunition and equipment, tons of equipment and everything. Um, not and money. They were absolutely laundering money, bringing that over to put into like El Paso Community Foundation, something like that. Their own little personal bank, or West Star Bank. Um, you know, they had to clean that money up, right? So that those would be good choices, right? And but not only were they was that going on, there was something called organ harvesting going on. So there was absolutely an organ um, black market that was going on. And here we find out that there's in Colorado a couple that 190, I guess 200, about 200 bodies that they found stacked up in filthy conditions, rotting conditions. Um, and I have their picture here. So here is this couple. And uh, so they were giving also concrete mix in urns. And they were doing now. Okay, so John Halford, he got 60 years in prison, and Carrie Halford, she's facing uh, 50 years in prison, I would say. But is that enough? Is that enough to, when you're looking people in their eyes and you're giving them an urn full of concrete mix and then cashing in on COVID? Um, and this is proven in this case. They were cashing in on millions, and um, yeah, 900,000 dollars of the pandemic aid. And I remember, yeah, gosh, I remember that so clearly during that time. And they were spending it on, the high life, anything, anything Gucci. Um, so they, the point is that the same business plan crossed the border. And there's a difference in how the authorities reacted in the United States. Um, they were prosecuted and given 40, 50 years in prison with restitution for the victims' families. And but there's more, and there's ongoing investigation with this. Believe it or not, it's not a done deal. And but I just wanted to really point that out because these are all connected. This is all connected. Like, is John and Carrie part of the Mormon faction? Could that be true? And do they have other links? Is this a pipeline um, connected to La Diabla and El Paso and Fort Bliss, going up through Colorado and other places? Do they share uh, same black market? Um, was there organ harvesting involved? We know with La Diabla there was. Was there uh, black market organ harvesting by this couple? So there's just a lot going on, and a lot more that I'm not at liberty to say right now. But it's pretty emotional. Everything every day is, uh, you know, the level of evil, the desecration of the body like this, and to people's loved ones. It is. It's really, gosh. Um, I think they deserve a much stiffer penalty than just uh, prison time, because you don't know who's going to come in and give them, a pardon or something like this, because we just can't have this kind of tampering uh, with a corpse, and then that equals tampering with paperwork, right? Official documents, and that means tampering with official records like death certificates and birth certificates and all of that. And all the fraud. There just has to be a very stiff penalty for something like this. There really does. So I'm just at a loss because it's so evil, and putting this stuff up and seeing the level of members that are doing this, um, and knowing, today was, April Fool's Day. President Trump went to the Supreme Court um, to really let them know that this immigration fraud, y'all, is a huge, huge problem. And I can tell you right now and you have to remember, my mother received her naturalization and became a citizen of the United States in 1965, right there in El Paso. And I shared that with everybody. We are an immigration family, right? Um, the level of fraud when it comes to immigration right now is so severe, so severe. Um, there has to be something done, because it is absolutely taking down our country, and not just our country, but all the other countries. So this is a really uh, big deal, because I think they want the immigration fraud so that they can continue with this organ harvesting fraud and the black market and the big money, because when people are desperate for their lives, they will go and do anything and go to the black market. And this is not the way. This is a way to destruction, right? To, you know, uh, all the details are not even out yet, but I can tell you this. I think there's a connection between this couple in Colorado and El Paso. The patterns are too perfect. They line up perfectly. And so I really believe they're connected. I put up a lot of past pictures with this La Diabla post. and we talked about the Supreme Court. And that is really, I mean, if I can um, really just, there's no expressing it. It is really just, please share this information. And we need to demand accountability. And to demand accountability, we need to share, 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 because you see what's happening in the media. They are absolutely not working for the people. They're not working for the president. They're not even fair. They're absolutely outrageous and insane. And even people that you thought were trustworthy are absolutely losing their mind. Why? Because we're turning off the this criminal organization that were engaged in organ harvesting and in the black market selling it. Yeah, I think there's a big problem and a big there's a lot of transparency right now. And Candace Owens, and I'd really be missing out on something if I didn't talk about what she said she's going to do. She's going to look into Romney, right? The Mormon faction leader Romney uh from Casa, well, Colonial Dublin, Colonial Juarez, Nova Casa Grandes area there in Chihuahua, Mexico. And it's going to be very interesting what Candace and what her sources can find about Romney. And she mentioned Farnsworth. That's really good because Farnsworth is also part of our son's case. But she needs to look into Wetton because Wetton is FBI, and that FBI connection is with other FBI connections, okay? And it's with the mass shooting, it's with our son's case, and absolutely when it comes to Charlie Kirk's case, these are all connected by their being up to no good, being up to no good. So her Candace Owens saying that she is absolutely um, going to do a deep dive into Romney and his past. It's really good. That's so good for us. And I want to say thank you so much. Support her in that because what she finds out will lead to Richard Halliday's case. It will lead to our son's case. So, I think unless they cover something up, but it's very, very clear. Um, there's so much information out there. And that really just ties right into Richard. Richard is the epicenter. He's the whistleblower soldier. And so, yeah, he's right in the middle of it. Not that I want him to be. No, but that's how it is. So, thank you so much, everybody. So late, especially during Holy Week. And I will be back. I will